Yo guys, what's going on? I forgot to push record today, so I wanted to make some kind of a video going over everything. We had three, um, kind of four, mainly three really good trades today. So this morning, coming in, I was expecting this. So we know um, we had this drawn. We had this range drawn, and we knew that this low right here. So we know that lows that don't hit 50%, which at the time the range here was, this low never hit 50%, right? So fully expected this low to get hit, and then we can get a long off it because I was not interested in shorts coming into today. Because if you go to the 15 minute, don't mind Wizards doing a bunch of back testing right now, so don't mind his drawings here. But you see this. So obviously we pumped up all night. You see around midnight we actually got a nice 50% here down the OTE here gives OTE entry, and then we go back and close back above it. So what's that make this? This makes this, you have like a 15-minute breaker here. You have like a 15-minute order block. It's actually it turned into an hourly order block here, and you see where price bounced today. Right here. When you see this and you see this, it's telling you price has a higher time frame target above. Which what did we have? Above that we've been wanting for a while now. We're still trying to grind to it here, but we have this devil's mark here on the daily sitting on Wednesday, 17 July's high at 845. Expecting this price to hopefully go today, if not tomorrow, and then up to 16 July. These highs are all SMTs, so we fully expect these to take the highs, as well as ES. Took another new all-time high today. So at first you're like, okay, SMT could cause a pullback, but the more times ES takes new high, takes new high, takes new high, takes new high, the more times it's like, okay, this market wants to move higher. The SMTs don't matter, and that's actually giving us conviction and telling us that, okay, ES keeps wanting to go higher. It's why is ES wanting to want to go higher? Because NQ wants all-time highs right here. So that's what and I've obviously the big move up to overnight. Just there's no way you want to short into this, and then unless you're looking for some kind of 50% scalp, right? Because we knew coming into today that here to here. Remember yesterday when we closed, we expect at least to move up into 50%, potentially getting something like this 50%, maybe up in OTE. Fill in this. There was a new dog here that was untapped, and then maybe we could come down and take these October lows, which it doesn't look like we need those lows, which we got pretty faked out because this is actually a daily break of structure down. So you expect this to hold until sell side hits. So we did not get that. Like I said, the election might have thrown some wrench in the plans there, but I really don't think it mattered. It would have mattered who won either way. I think this was already in the plans for today. But getting down to it, so that was like that broke down like the bias. But going back to it, sorry. Um, so that breaker, right? So we had a 15-minute breaker sitting here. You see how price comes back and holds it. When you expect higher prices, you would not expect this to get broke. You would just expect it to test, hits OTE, boom, and off we go until sell side up at that 845 level. Obviously, first target was the previous day high, or previous day high. Sorry, but this high from 29 October. But before we dip down there on the daily was first target, and then like I said, we're still going to grind up towards 845 here. So was bullish today, very very bullish. I was not interested in any kind of shorts. So what am I looking for? So I came into today and I was like, okay, I see a weak low here. This gives me a reason that price could turn around at some point and come take this low because you barely tapped into this 5 minute. We didn't even get near CE of it. So I'm like, okay, well, weak low. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. Weak low. Why is it a weak low? Because it didn't hit 50%. So from here to here, we didn't hit 50%. We expect those are always nice targets. That's where you find soups, especially in discount or in premiums. So we were looking for some kind of move down into here to get along. We did not get it. So what did we do? Plyo still took a long because this right here, this ended up being in, I believe ES took this low, so Plyo took the long based off the SMT. Because if you go back and look at it in hindsight, you'll see actually I believe it was ES took where was it? So ES took this low, the 923 lows, and NQ didn't even move. You see, NQ still held 50% the whole time with an SMT, so that was Plyo's entry. He just said, okay, well, 50% holding here, and ES already took this low. It's a nice SMT, and that means NQ is showing strength, liquidity swept. Now we could push up, and Plyo just got in, and he held, I believe, to that previous day high that I showed you around 807 or whatever it was at. So that was Plyo's. But I mean, I stuck to it. We didn't get that low. I mean, we still had like a 3 drives here that I guess, drove it up. So we did not get my target here. So I had no entry there. So came in I'm not necessarily frustrated, but I'm just like annoyed, I guess, that we go up and we deliver. So we come back down. We take this low, and I'm like, okay. I was watching this. So what happens next? We take a high, we take a low, and we deliver higher, right? We we break structure. So what am I looking for? Immediately, I'm still thinking higher up at 845, right? So I'm seeing this. That's not what I want. I'm seeing this. So immediately, what am I looking at? You guys should see it already. You guys have watched me enough. You see Devil's Mark here in an OTE. And I told Stream, I was like, okay, I'm watching this. I actually took some 2M and Q here, and then just exited when we started going down at the bottom here. So it was like a 50 point, $50 loss there. No, it was like 100 because it was 2M and Q for about 20 points or so, like 80 bucks or so. Doesn't matter. But we didn't, and then I was going to add to it if we got a bounce. Well, you see, we did not get a bounce. What happens? We come back, we sleep at 930 lows. So now I'm looking again, and I'm like, okay, we do not sweep this low again. So we do not sweep the low, but we swept liquidity here. And what's going on? We're in the macro, right? So we're in the macro, and we start to reverse. So if we start reversing on a macro, I don't care. This low still matters to me. It's still annoying that we didn't take it. And then we end up pushing up higher, but because of the macro, I was able to flip bullish, and I believe this is where we got our first entry. So going back to the entry, where was it? I gotta look back in the Discord. First entry was the 735 entry. So 735 we entered. So yeah, we entered a little late here, but we knew we were going higher, right? It's because displacement time. We should run some kind of highs. So what did I see? Okay. So I do remember this now. So look, so go to the 1 minute. 1 minute. Keep this fair vague up here. It's a nice marker to keep track of where I'm at. So what do we see here? We see, so we push up, we reject a 50% here. So I'm like, okay, interesting. Now, does this 50% send us all the way back down to our 5 minute where we can look for a long? Or I told chat, where else do you expect? We have mitigation here. These order blocks were not mitigated, break a structure, come back down, mitigation. I was like, okay, if we hold here, we can then have confirmation that, because if we're bearish, we're just going to slice through these order blocks. We're going to go take these lows. The fact we hold here tells me we can look for an entry after we go back up here, and the next high and up here should be our target. So you see what happened. We had mitigation here. This holds. What am I looking at? Break a structure up here on the 1 minute internal, right off OTE, right off the order blocks. Boom. So then we enter right in here. So if we go down to the 15, you'll see we were looking to enter, I believe, in this one too, and we didn't get the 50%, or did we? So was there 50% there? So there was a 50%. Okay, we did not enter there. I forget why. Oh, there was no break, so we didn't really break any structure up. So we closed above. So here, there was no break of structure. So we closed here. Boom. break a structure up. So now we close above on this leg. We can then look for which, so we knew this low was good. We don't have reason to come back. We hit 50%. Could we come back all the way for a mitigation? Sure. But 50% with a break of structure, you shouldn't come back. So then I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna enter right here. I believe I entered at 735. I got it. I had the market buy in, and then we obviously, I forget where we trimmed. Where did we trim? We trimmed at 55, which makes sense. So we took one off at the high. You know, it was already 20 points. So of course you want to pay yourself. So this is where you get into it. So 55, and so okay, where do we look to next? We knew the high should hit. So you guys know I like to sell a few points before the high because you usually can be a pain. So I just set it at CE up here right at 800, a nice round number, and we rode the entry from 735, and the charts froze. 735 entry, and then you see like there's like sometimes we'll mess around down here in these 15s, and we'll just like, you know, it'll be slow. This is what you want to see. You want to see absolute instant delivery. You have break of structure, mitigation on the order blocks, mitigation on these, boom, boom, entry, boom. You want to see instant delivery out because you don't want this to like mess around. If it does, there's a good chance you just get stopped out. And then we just held for up to that 800 high. So that was trade one as well. But what I want to work through is, I guess I'll just get to it on the next trade. So the next trade, so I guess let's see, we can kind of break it down before I get to the next trade here. So what do I notice next? Okay, the 5 minute does not close above, right? So we don't break structure up here. So I'm expecting, okay, we could get some kind of pullback because a break of structure up means that 50% should hold, and then we still push higher. But what do you see? So we have so we draw our we look at our 5 minute range here, and what do you see? OTE back down and then back up, but I can't remember what I was looking at potentially for a long out of there. Charts are freezing. Okay. So out of here, oh, okay, this is that's right. So okay, out of here, we're looking for what? We had break a structure down, right? We've seen 1 minute broke structure down, this low. That sent us up to a new high, right? Broke down here, right? So we knew we broke structure. Means we should get some kind of 50%, right? I mean, we already got 150, but what do? We go to the next higher time frame and look, okay, where's 50% at? So so we go down to the 50% range. We can look at this low I didn't really care about. Plus this whole range is the 5 and the 15 minute range. And I'm looking at this. So I'm like, okay, well, 50%, we should hit 733 here. Well, at this point, I'm also looking at what? I'm looking at what's down at 733. We always want to be looking at what is at 733, or what is at our levels, what FEGs, what PD arrays, what mitigation areas, order blocks line up with our OTE levels, and do we have a reason to go higher? If we have a reason to go higher, we expect these levels to hold to then shoot us back up to, which our targets say is still 845 up here. So we've seen, fair value gap here. So let's go down to the little 1 minute, because I think we missed this at first. So we looked at, I think we caught this long, actually. This was a long we caught. This was the long we caught before the big long. So 722 we entered. So we got a little entry off of here, and we took it to what? So let's get rid of this. So we know we're delivering out of that out of that 5 minute, right? We're delivering out of the 5 minute. So let's go to 1053. Let's go to the 15-second chart. And what do we see? 1053, we enter at, so we entered right here. So there's no real break of structure here, but our levels coincided with it and there was displacement, right? So we can look at the range and be like, okay, where's 50? Where's 50? You know, and we actually just got in right at the first, right at the fair value gap, right here at 722. And there we go. So let's go to this 5-minute for now. So you see we hit 55, the 15-minute 15-second fair value gap. Obviously we took some off at this high. And then what do? So we already hit our 15-second target, right? Our 15-second target was just this swing high up here at 732. So what do? Our 15-second, you know, we have these highs, but where do we target inside of here? That's when we go down to our 1 minute. So when you run out of 15-second targets or 1-minute targets, you go up in time frame. So I kind of broke this down today, and it's kind of like taking a magnifying glass and like pulling it back out to look at like the bigger time frame to see what the range is. So what do you see? You see 1 minute uh, fair value gap here, which I guess I didn't even see at the time because I'm just now realizing there's a 1 minute there. But look at the 1 minute range. So we entered here. So 15-second already delivered for us, and we knew we hit the 50%. So what do we look? So then we go to the 1 minute 50%, right? So where do we take profit next? 736. Why 736? It's 50% of the 1 minute range. So if this continues higher, what do? We go to the 5-minute range, and then we target. You can either target 744, which is the 1 minute OTE, or if you have more targets, you just drag this up. What do? You target 764, which is your 5-minute 50%, right? So that was that trade, and then I think we entered there, and then we trimmed twice. Our stops then basically just got stopped just below break even down there. So, and then I was like, okay, well, if this fails, we have a reason to go lower here, because so we knew this low should get taken. Same concept as down here, where we did not take these lows. Just because it didn't work here doesn't mean it's not going to work here, right? So these lows are targets because 50% was never touched. So what happens? So this range finally gets mitigated. Like you'll notice if you backtest, price will always come back to hit that 50% level. So look, boom. So we're watching that 5-minute fair value gap as well as this 1-minute low. Which if we draw the 5-minute fair value gap, hopefully I'm not losing you guys. See how this inverse just did not matter. I don't care if my level's hitting it, I'm not shorting, right? Like, because I know there's a great chance at reversal here. So we knew we had that first low inside of, let's see if we, so 5-minute fair value gap, look where this low lines up. This is where turtle supers thrive. They look for higher time frame OTE levels that line up with a PD array where there's a low. So this low is suitable because it's a low that should be targeted, and once it's taken care of, what can happen? Full on reversal. So we soup this low and go a little bit lower. What do we hit? The original 1-minute 50%. Original 1-minute 50% right here. And then at this point, we are looking for a full-on longs, right? We know everything's mitigated below. The only thing we have below that price could push for is these, but we've seen it fail twice. So and I think it was someone mentioned the 3 drives. So this also looked very, very nice. We've seen price fail twice, so I'm okay with So I told chat and I was like, okay, I'm watching 718. If we don't get a reaction off 718, which we did, we took along there, came back down. Our runners got stopped basically at break even, and then we hit our level at 705. We hit OTE of the original 1-minute move. So now we can look for a long position. And this is where we look for a long, and this is where where I'm going to break down and go into the higher time frame again. So we knew we hit our targets right here. So we knew we hit the OTE level. So we're looking for a long at this point. So at this point, we are, see if I can find it here. What time was that? So it was right here. So this was our sets, 718, and then we knew 705 was 50, and then so where's our breakage structure? Our breakage structure was right here. Breakage structure is right here. We close above, and I told chat, and I was like, well, sometimes, which it works here, which it works a lot of the times, but you see breakage structure, boom, you still get 50%. What do we come back for? The order blocks here. But I like a fair value gap just because it gives me a nice clean stop. If I don't get one, I'll be picky and I'll absolutely wait. Like discipline will get you far in these markets, I promise you. So what do we wait for? We still know there's there's targets above, so I'm not worried about missing, a little move in here. So what do we see? We see these lows break us to what? A brand new high. So now we have a new breaker structure. So we can draw our range right here. Right? And where's our entry? We're gonna entered a little early. Should have waited for 50%. But see, we got in right at, let's see where my entry was. My entry was, yeah, right there at 717. So got in right at the fair value gap. And then, like I said, my stop was just below this swing low. So I mean, it's a 13-point stop. I was in for, I think, 3 micros. And then we just let her run, right? Our stop never hit. Just came back down, make it these order blocks, and then off we went. Let's see where we sold. So we'll keep this marked. I'll get rid of this to alleviate any confusion. And let's see, we sold at 26 or 25, I think 26, 38, 72. Okay, 26, obvious first choice. Is 10 points exactly, and takes these relative equal highs, takes these highs, and so what's our next target? 38. Our next target 38. What is at 38? Let's see. So obviously we're already pushing up through the 15-minute here. This is already at 50%, right? So we can go down to the 1-minute level. Let's see here. So we go to the 1 minute. So this is our 1-minute swing, right? 1-minute swing up here, and where was it? So this was the 1-minute swing, and what was 738? I believe 738 was, what was 738? I guess it was basically just this high. But so after 738, I honestly forget what I seen there. But 738, this is where I got my final TP. So, but it's the same concept, right? We start at the 15-second, we can trim it, at the other side of the leg, so the other OTE side. So if we enter in an OTE on the lows, we can target the premium side of it, right, and trim there, or 10 points, or the swing high, whatever comes first. You have to go quick. It's really hard to even to do on stream, but so 742. Let's see, maybe it lined up with. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so you see, I went with this 1-minute leg. I guess I should have went with this one, but I went with this one. And 738 was back into 1-minute OTE. So we took one at the swing high, and then 738. So, and then I'm like, okay, what do we do from here? So from the entry, I'm like, okay, like we already know where to hit 1-minute OTE. If we're gonna keep going, it's gonna be through OTE. So what do? We pull out the magnifying glass, right? Pull out the magnifying glass, and it's like, okay, now what do we look for? So I'm looking at this entire range down, this whole 5-minute range. We already looked at the 15-second. We looked at the 1. We need targets on the 5. Targets on the 5, 756. But I didn't care for this target. Why? If you don't see it, which if you want to stream, if you don't see it, pause the video, see if you see it, and see what your target would be first, and then unpause the video, and then take a look. But look right here, 5-minute civvy lines up perfectly with OTE. right? So right there was our final take profit off of that 15 minute. So we enter down here, we enter right here, boom, delivers right to our 72, and then look what happens. We hit 72, we top ticked it right here. Why? Was that our final TP? OTE of a five minute range inside the last 5 minutes Sibian the leg, you're going to get some kind of 50% retracement, 80, 90% of the time. And then you see what happens, right? We deliver up. So this was TP right here. Look what happens. Hits here, comes back to OTE, and then what? Comes back. Why? Comes back to OTE of this little of the whole, like, so the whole move up. The whole move up from here. Let's see if it'll let me here. The whole move up to here comes back to what? OTE 5 minute order block. So you guys see your PD arrays, when they line up with your OTE levels, I will keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, until you guys, are finally getting, which I think you guys are getting it very, very well. But when these line up and you have context and your bias is still bullish, you have a day like this where you're bullish, you have a reason to go higher up to this 845 high, you expect these levels to hold. Now, your better traders will just soup here and expect reactions, or that's why I like the 15-second. It gets you in with a pretty tight stop, and then it still gets you in very, very early than a lot of other chase entry methods that are out there. So I think that's pretty much all I had to go over. I just went over quite a bit. But that was this morning and how I seen it. Just basically, whenever we're entering, we're targeting 15-second, 1 minute, 50%. If we start blowing through there, we're targeting 1 minute OTE, right? And then we're looking for, it's even better if there's a PD array that lines up in that OTE. It makes a great target because price should draw there. You have OTE plus a PD array. And then if you have to, you go to the 5 minute. If God, if you're really killing it and you're, in the 5 minutes not is you hit the 5 minute and you're still crushing through it, you go to the 15 minute, then the hourly, just keep on going up in time frames to keep finding your next targets. But just realize everything needs balanced most of the time. And everything usually will get balanced eventually. So I shouldn't say most of the time. Eventually, we'll come down here, and these lows will be a target, and then we get a potential long out of this 5 minute. So that's another thing. So this 5 minute, I would look for a long. I'll look for a long out of here. If we don't get it, where do we go? Oh, well, there's nothing else below that's not touched. We should deliver to what? 50% to this 15-minute down here. Just remember, lows that don't hit 50% are weak lows and should be targeted. Highs that don't hit 50% are weak highs and will be targeted. And that range will come back and hit a 50% and hit the 50% level at some point. And you can use that to frame entries as well. So with that, hope you guys learned something today. Hope you guys are learning in general, and we'll see you guys next time.